Hi everyone. This is a bit of a momentous moment. I'm listening to Pink Floyd today, but not Pink Floyd's The Wall, which, well, if you've been paying any attention at all to this channel, you know that Pink Floyd was one of my first listens on the whole journey. Not the first, but very early. And then after a little while, I decided to dive into this project of really digging into and pulling apart and getting into the Wall album in a way that was really quite ambitious. Haven't quite finished that project, actually, but it will finish soon. And it's been such a big project, it has kind of kept me, shall I say it has built a wall? It's been a hurdle for me to finish it, and so I haven't gone to anything other than Pink Floyd's The Wall. Well, today is the day I'm going to do that. I'm going to back up a little bit to before The Wall existed. Good way to destroy it, right? Just back up to before it existed. Maybe we can restart things and avoid The Wall. No, promise, I'm finishing The Wall. This is going to be Wish You Were Here, and I don't know anything about it except that it came before The Wall, so I'm going to read and then I will listen. Wish You Were Here was released as the title track of Pink Floyd's 1975 album of the same name. Guitarist-vocalist David Gilmour and bassist-vocalist Roger Waters collaborated in writing the music, with Gilmour singing lead vocals. The song is popular on classic rock radio stations and remains a staple of Pink Floyd's discography. It was voted the 18th best rock song of all time by listeners of New York City's Q104.3 and ranked number 302 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time in 2021. Billboard and Louder Sound ranked the song number 1 and number 3, respectively, on their lists of the 50 greatest Pink Floyd songs. So this one is kind of a big one. And it seems appropriate that I should listen to it as my first step outside of or before The Wall.
And discipline remains mercifully.
Yes, and neither would you, Derek, this star nonsense.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
I'm sure of it.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain.
That's interesting. All right. First of all, before I go through the rest of the piece, because I see there are going to be things to pay attention to, they make no apologies for long portions of immersion in a musical space. This introduction was so... Somehow they managed to hold my attention, even though it went on for quite a long time. How did they do it? Well, first it sounded kind of live, almost like, there were some things inserted which weren't actually the music. And so I was always left wondering, okay, what's going to happen next? Am I going to hear sheet music fall on the floor? Am I going to hear a chair scoot a bit as they adjust their seat? And yet they didn't have a whole lot of that. It was just enough to kind of keep me listening and see, okay, what's coming? Also, the first little sound clips were so Pink Floyd, so random. So it's kind of like what I hear in the Wall album with the TV in the background and that sort of thing. And you sometimes wonder, is this supposed to be part of the message of the music, part of the musical experience, or is this just, one of their ways of breaking up the monotony and giving you kind of a palate cleanser, prepare you a bit for something else coming in which you're going to be immersed in a long time. Now there's so you think you can tell. It really, I start to hear immediately how the Wall is building off of musical ideas that they've had in their back pocket for a good while, because you can hear echoes of even that little line within the vocal parts of the Wall. Okay, so I'm going to start where the voice began and we'll continue.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the wall for a lead role in a cage?
Floyd always manages to make me feel on edge, uncomfortable. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel? This part of it, it kind of goes back to that little conversation clips we heard at the beginning where they're obviously having some deep philosophical discussion. Disciplinary remains mercifully. Like, what sort of hodgepodge is that anyway? Disciplinary remains mercifully. And yes, I agree with you. As if, it's these clips of sounds, conversation, which sounds like it's a conversation back and forth, but it makes absolutely zero sense. And then, I'm sure of it. The statement, I'm sure of it. And now comes the voice. So you think you can tell. You think that you can parse these things and reason it out. You think you can tell. Are your perceptions really as good as you think they are? You can tell a smile from a veil. What a line. Oh, what a line. You think you can tell a smile from a veil. Well, again, they explored more of that in The Wall later. That really stops you in your tracks and makes you start to reflect. But then it starts messing with me even a bit more. Here's why. And it's a lyrical thing. Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts? Which came first? Heroes, ghosts. So you trade your heroes for ghosts, okay? Swap them. The heroes are the good guys, the ghosts really don't sound so good. Then the next lines, what comes first? Hot ashes for trees. Well, hold on. I don't want to be trading, I mean, heroes for ghosts, that's bad. But hot ashes for trees? That sounds like a good trade. Hot air for a cool breeze? Sounds pretty good. Cold comfort for exchange? Sounds like a good thing. Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? Oh boy, we've got a catch-22. Which one is it going to be anyway? A walk-on part in the war? Well, there's courage and risk. For a lead role in a cage, there's fame and fortune and lack of freedom. I mean, they make you sit in an uncomfortable seat. And the music just drives it in and drives it home. And I guess that's one of the things, well, as I said, what I know of Pink Floyd is The Wall. So it needs more context for me. This is the beginning of getting more context. But even in The Wall, there is this element of just when you think that, okay, you've got this figured out, suddenly something comes in. It's incredibly uncomfortable to think about and to dig into these topics. And they make you do it. They make you do it. And, well, that can be a good thing. As long as you don't get lost in this maze of confusion, as long as you actually do manage to find your footing, get some good bearings, and use it productively, it's great.
A lead role in a cage. Wish you were here.
That's another long transition, isn't it? Well, yeah. They know how to immerse you in a sound world, a soundscape, even if it's just bum dee dee da bum, bum 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 bum. Somehow they manage to give enough variety, enough texture, and just put some little things here and there to keep you engaged throughout. I loved how in this last portion it was kind of hard to tell which was guitar, which was voice. Sometimes I was thinking, okay, is he just vocalizing here? And then I thought, no, that's the guitar. It's kind of hard to tell in the mix, and I don't even feel confident now saying whether it's one or the other, or maybe both. I'm tending towards, I don't even know if I should say. But if it's both, it's incredible how the voice and the guitar sound blend to the point of being almost indistinguishable one from the other. If it's one or the other, well, again, there are places where it's so hard to tell, and it makes you think, it's the voice. No, it's the guitar. Those sorts of things. While we have this da-da-dum-bum, which also has its own dynamic variations and sonic shifts, keep us in that musical space. And that's quite impressive, because it's easy for repetitive sections to become either boring or simply shift into background, or kind of put us into kind of a hypnotic state where we're there, but we're not really actively engaged. We're just there. This managed to do both: keep me actively engaged and keep me there, immersed in the musical experience. So what is this song all about? As I commented on each section except for the last, how I wish you were here. What is it talking about? I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Well, is that taking us back to this whole rather confused philosophical discussion at the beginning, perhaps? Running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. But then it finishes by saying, wish you were here. Well, it doesn't really make sense for me to try to nail it down, because if there's one thing I've learned about Pink Floyd by going into the Wall project, that is that they really link things, ideas, even storylines, one song to the next. And maybe not all their albums are so continuous as The Wall, but this album is entitled Wish You Were Here. That is the album, which makes me think that maybe I ought to listen to the whole album before I start trying to decide what this is really about. So we'll leave it at that for now. I will listen to the album at some point in the future. Musically, it's also a bit tricky to compare it to The Wall, simply because another thing I've learned is that they have a lot of variety in what they can present musically, and there can be a lot of careful crafting and design between tracks, between numbers on the album, and how that music contributes to the meaning of the text, the lyrics. Sometimes it's just something to carry the lines, other times it has some real significance. But it is still what I have come to know as the classic Pink Floyd sound. This is perhaps a bit more repetitive in longer portions of longer lengths of time. Repetition lasts a lot longer than on the Wall album. The Wall album is quite intense, and it takes you from one to the other and really challenges you in that regard. This seems to be taking more time living in a certain musical space. Even these interludes between the lyrical sections of this piece, they're long, they're repetitive, and they hold you there. As I said, that's quite an accomplishment. But sonically, well, it's Gilmour's voice, it's the guitar, it's that same general feel that I've come to associate with Pink Floyd in The Wall. And that excites me a bit because I would like to see some other applications of that sound. So I will be coming gradually breaking out of this wall and exploring more of their work. So that was Wish You Were Here. It was fun, and I'm looking forward to more, and I'll see you soon.